Okay, guys, I think we're live. I don't have João here to make sure that I'm live, but okay. João is always with the second screen, telling me if I'm already live or not. But okay, João is in NFT Brazil right now in the event. I didn't get a chance to be there. I was tired from Modular Summit that happened yesterday and just wanted to chill and do my homework without feeling the pressure of talking with everyone in the conference. But okay, we have a special guest today. But before we introduce Brody, I want to ask Tony, how was your couple days? Where are the updates on Kilonova and stuff? Go ahead.
Yeah, I figured this week I've been working with the growth uh, strategy plan for all the projects. We are setting up a lot of Galaxy, Discord, Telegram, searching new tools, and creating some funnels to attacking a lot of channels and finding some KOLs too and partnerships to do M&As for the projects. And today I had a very good conversation about account abstraction with my economy. Was very valuable for us. I imagine that the company don't is not a developer to in a certain point that we can use on the client, but they offer a lot of support and they have a lot of integration with all the projects, other products like Web3 Alpha, Safe, and any project I want to connect. So yeah, it was valuable, and maybe we will implement on Void Travel. And yeah, this was my week, and was a very good week. Now we had a new a new guy in Killanova, but we were hiring more tools. So if someone knows or want to be part, call me, send a DM. That's it. Good to be here with Sophie and Brody.
Nice.
Tony,
Sounds like a good week.
Tony's not Tony's not paying a headhunter, so he's using Circuito to pick new people to the team. So every live stream that we do, Tony he always the open positions.
Good. Get the people involved, man. Spread the
But
opportunity.
okay, I think I'm kind of glitchy. Oh,
Yeah. I think your connection's glitchy. Tony, I can hear you fine. Can you see me fine?
Yeah, very good.
Cool. I don't know.
Are you
Maybe
okay,
it's
hearing
okay,
us,
fixing.
okay.
Soph?
Uh, yeah, I went back from Argentina and to São Paulo after. I did went to Modular Summit, which was a good structure. Not a lot of people, to be honest, because at the same we had two events in crypto in the same town, and one of them was NFT Brazil, and the other Modular Summit. I think it wasn't good to have like being in the same time. It was but both have good structures. Heard about the NFT Brazil structure,
I'm losing him
high energy
quite poorly.
as well. Remote was very a little
You are
more
freezing a
flexible.
lot, Sophie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't really hear you, man.
Try disconnect and connect again. Maybe I can go ahead with Brody.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. What's up, everybody? My name's Brody. I am the co-founder of On-Chain Outpost. On-Chain Outpost is a decentralized AI research and media project. We focus heavily on the fundamentals, a lot of the events, product updates, fundraising events, and general serve as a good resource for everybody who's interested in decentralized AI. We believe that it's one of the most promising opportunities, not only for technology as a whole, but for venture as well. There's a lot of cool opportunities constantly emerging within each component of the AI stack. And it's really interesting to see all of the creative solutions that everybody is kind of building and putting them on chain. AI, is one of the most emerging and innovative technologies in our time, and so is blockchains. And we believe that they converge quite well. Um, I guess a little bit about me before I kind of pass this off back to Tony for open discussion around, decentralized AI, which I'm sure we'll get into really heavily, and there's a lot of talk about there. But yeah, so I started my career in crypto, so to speak, trading different Ponzi's, I guess. I got into it through Time Wonderland, was captivated by DeFi in the beginning stages, and just thought the concept of programmable money was really interesting and really cool. And I, read the Bitcoin white paper, saw a chart of the M2 money supply and the chart of the total Bitcoin supply, and it immediately, clicked for me how important scarcity and programmability and censorship resistance for something that is so important to our day to day lives and the fabric of society as a whole, which is obviously money and economic value and financial transactions and value exchange, right? So it immediately clicked to me to kind of dive head first into this space. So got the first job I could find as a product manager for a crypto accounting firm building proof of reserves products, real-time asset attestation platforms, and quickly transitioned into a role at Masari where I did protocol level research, anything between the L1, the L2, middleware, different DeFi protocols, governance updates, everything involving the protocol updates was kind of under my purview. And then, spun out of Masari to do my own thing, which is now On-Chain Outpost. So the original idea for On-Chain Outpost came from wanting to demystify the intersection of crypto and AI because it was a buzzword in a meme for the last 2-3 years. So I started to get into AI. I started using ChatGPT the first day it launched and immediately was just captivated by the technology as a whole and wanted to kind of dive into where the intersection was because there's a lot of just misconceptions, and I wanted to kind of find where the real value converged, so to speak, for both of them. And yeah, ultimately, like, didn't know much about AI, and that was a kind of a whole new rabbit hole for me to venture down, and started to kind of see where all of these synergies were with blockchains and AI, and then wanted to kind of write more about it, do more research. I felt like the overall sector was pretty underserved in regards to how much media there was out there available and how much information was actually being disseminated and distributed to the wider populace in the ecosystem and the crypto ecosystem as a whole. And yeah, it's been a fun ride ever since. We've been doing a lot of work with BitTensor. We've been doing a lot of research in that direction. There's a lot of promise in that ecosystem that we believe is building a lot of fundamental building blocks for AI as a whole. And it's really cool to see all of those developments kind of wrapped up under one coordination and incentivization protocol. So that's been really cool to kind of check out. And yeah, just a lot of opportunities. We talk to a lot of investors, kind of get their take on the sector at large, and are really interested in kind of a lot of the projects that are receiving fundraising and these recent months too. So that's a little bit about me. Tony, I don't know if you want to
Great,
kind of
great.
dive deep. Yeah, I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
dive deeper into AI, what you guys are looking
I'm
at on your end, because I have these conversations with guys like you all the time, and it's interesting to kind of see where the ball is going or the puck is going for funds and what they're checking out. So yeah, kind of want to open
Then
that up.
I'm very curious about your daily base. I think I want to understand. Are you writing a newsletter, doing some consultants, and what challenge are you seeing to maybe evolve all the applications to use AI and what models are waiting for, or what models are you using on your own research or by your daily basis.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very curious about it because I already saw some projects with LangChain, with Llama, some the now Cursor AI using Claude,
Yeah.
and yeah, a lot of good news about it, and devs talking excited about the new codes with Claude. I use Claude
Yeah.
and ChatGPT to all the day. So yeah,
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So obviously there's a ton of tools popping up all the time, and it's really hard to keep track of all of them. So if you're listening to this and you want a good repository of just AI tools in general, the Rundown is a newsletter that they just put in all of the new tools that are kind of coming to market. It's called the rundown.ai. It's a great repository to see all the tools. They've got the different large language models. They've got, chat bots that are, optimized and indexed for specific results and outputs. They've got um, different like just SaaS tools where it's like call center stuff, just different like sales tools, AI, sales tools and reach out tools. So a bunch of cool stuff on that end. So if you really want to dive deep into like the AI tooling just for your personal use, for your business use, go to the rundown.ai. They don't pay me to say this. Like this is completely unpaid. Like shameless shill, but like, yeah. So that's really cool. Personally, in my research stack, so to speak, I use a lot of Perplexity AI. So Perplexity, for those who don't know, it's like a web search focused AI that like is hooked into the internet. It just goes and you can, search a lot of cool stuff and whatever you want, and it goes and pulls from all the relevant sources across the internet. So it's very much in real time. So for example, like the last time I used it was to look up all of like Pantera's port codes over the past few like years, and it pulled up all of the cool all of the promising investments that did well for Pantera during the past, since the fund's inception. So that was a good example of like using AI to do all that, because if I did that on my own, it would have taken forever to find and have to check the accuracy of some of the investments and so forth. So that's one way. And I use Claude a lot for like building general like frameworks around what I'm thinking. So I'll just kind of dump my brain into the input bar, for lack of a better term, into the chat bot, and kind of just ask it questions
for
and
me
kind
it's
of
the
just,
same.
yeah,
People
yeah,
people talk a lot about, oh, what's your framework? What's your scripts? Oh, I know how to talk with the AI. I teach what I'm thinking, what data I have, what documents, and put a structure. And I sometimes I ask it for it to structure how we can do it together. And after that, I do the job. So yeah, but you can go
yeah.
ahead. That
No,
comment.
yeah, like I totally like I use that just to kind of like ask it to tell me where I'm wrong about things. Like, here's my general understanding of this. Is this right? Can this be expanded on? Like,
Yeah.
please refine my way of thinking about this concept or this mental model, or like give me a better, more robust mental model for thinking about this, right? Like that's a very common workflow that I kind of have just for my research, my personal or the research that I do for on-chain outposts in general. I use a lot of Claude to kind of just even draft like the first iteration of what I'm trying to, write about. They have this project feature now where you can plug in all of the information about a project or about the topic that you want to kind of uncover. And then it pulls from all of that repository and library of information. So it has all of that context. Um, so that's kind of how I use that. But like the cool part about decentralized AI, and I kind of want to like shift like the focus into that specifically, it's because all of these tools that I'm using, like Claude, Perplexity, the decentralized AI counterpart is still like really close to parity in performance with all of those tools as well. So Venice AI is a really good example of that. So Venice AI is built by Venice AI. It's like a large language model chatbot. They integrate all of the new large language models as soon as they're open source, and it's censorship resistant. It's focused on privacy. So all of your prompts are all like stored locally on like the browser, and
Are
it
they using
terminates.
ZK?
Uh, I just don't think that they like roll up the
Okay,
prompt into like the larger like collection. I don't know how the process actually works where it's not transferred and collected, but like once your session's over, it just terminates the history of the session, essentially.
okay,
So yeah, so it's developed by Eric Voorhees. It's actually deployed on Akash as well. So it's using Akash to like for all of its inference requests, which is cool. And you get non-biased results every time you ask it a question. So unlike the centralized counterparts where, I ask a question about, Donald, make a joke about Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, like where it won't give me an output or won't make the joke, like Venice AI will do that. And that's just like a pretty rudimentary, trivial example. But for something like this, like where, you understand that you're not getting those biases injected into the output or into your response, I think that's really important. And then on the contrary, there's a lot of subnets in BitTensor, and I won't go into too much depth on BitTensor, but there's a ton of like these BitTensor subnets that are producing front ends that allow you to interact with the models that they're building, and a lot of those are in the form of these chatbots, right? And they all are optimizing for different results across different benchmarks, right? So, for example, Cybele, which is a large language model by Subnet 4, which is produced by Manifold Labs. And in the BitTensor ecosystem, their model is optimized for tokens per second. So it's like a perplexity experience where you are searching the wider web for this result, whatever it is that you're searching, and you get like an ultra fast response because of like the optimizations that they're making, right? But there's other large language models in the ecosystem that are using these decentralized open source models, and they're indexed more for certain benchmarks, whether it be like EQ or mathematics, or there's like protein folding, like discovery for like drug discovery and healthcare and stuff like that. Like it's optimizing for those benchmarks. So when you ask it those questions, the results are way more fine tuned to the response that you're trying to solve for. So it's like that opens up like a whole broader discussion about like the direction of like large language models and the types of them that we will have and how they benchmark across all these different benchmarks. It's like if I'm going to ask specifically questions about like healthcare, for example, like I don't need the large language model to perform well when I ask it history questions, right? Or questions relating to crypto. But
yeah.
I use a crypto LLM that I want to like have like the most fine-tuned crypto responses to my questions. So maybe we train, some of these LLMs specifically on crypto related information and knowledge, and then we develop a benchmark uh, for such a model. So that's like a kind of like a
So
broad high level overview of like the centralized AI products that I use in my day to day, but also the decentralized alternatives. And they have varying performance across the stack, but there's alternatives for sure.
so by this decentralized training, decentralized database, and it focus on some specific areas, we can have a lot of benefits like costs and
Yeah.
performance, and we already seen that. So I didn't know some names that you bring to here, and I think now Shelf is back. Are you here?
He's back.
I hope so that if I start to talk, things will go well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it
of
sounds a little bit better.
Do you have some question for Brody?
course, I lost a lot of uh, what the guys discussed, but okay. I have a question. Like two steps prior to what you guys are speaking are in the like I would say in the specifics of one our area of how AI and the decentralized world can have a overlap. But when a lot of people see AI and crypto in the same sentence, they think about investments and how can they can participate and buy a token or something like that. What's your broad view, Brody, about about that. Like people speculating in AI tokens. It makes sense or it doesn't make sense. Tokens are. I heard like some OG guy from Polkadot, one of the greatest OG guys in the Polkadot ecosystem, said to me once that tokens were a great way to finance open source software. And yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
point. What do you think about?
So there's kind of a few ways to go about this like question. Like there's one angle where it's like a lot of projects just launch tokens for the sake of launching tokens that have no like intrinsic value relative to the protocol that they're building. Like that is not like, unique to AI, right? Like that is just a thing that a lot of these projects are doing essentially. Um, as for like the current landscape of liquid tokens and crypto AI, like specific tokens, there really isn't much out there that's appealing to me right now, because a lot of them are obviously like more hype oriented. There's really no fundamental product being produced. And that's, again, these are not problems specific to AI crypto. Like these are problems, across the industry at large. So, but there is one project that sticks out to me specifically, and that's BitTensor, of course. And we can talk more about BitTensor if you want to talk about it. It's kind of a behemoth of a topic to discuss because there's so many different mechanisms and intricacies, and there's a lot of just components of it that are not really one to one when comparing it to like another blockchain project, so to speak. There's a lot of jargon that's native to BitTensor, but I'll keep it pretty short. The reason why I like BitTensor is because it is a launch pad for a lot of these AI projects to kind of go and build within the ecosystem and then receive Tau as the universal incentive for them to continue producing the digital intelligence or the product that they are producing, right? So in line with your with the conversation you have with the guy at Polkadot, where it's like tokens are a way for these projects to basically finance their operation until they find PMF. In a way, that is the Tau ecosystem, where never before in time you've been able to incentivize open source AI model development in a coordinated way. So in a coordinated and distributed way. So like the traditional path of contributing to AI research was you join a really large company, you receive your total compensation, all of the work and all of the data and all the models and all of the technology that you produce rolls up into that company, and then you don't actually get to participate in any of the upside, relatively speaking, compared to what your contribution may have like yielded you in the real world, right? So it's like you see upside within the form of like equity, of course, but that vests over time, and who knows how much real world value your discovery is created when you've only received a certain slice in the form of equity, right? So in BitTensor, it's the kind of the opposite, where it's like you go in and you're incentivized to basically create these AI models, and the best performant model wins the majority of the prize and the majority of the incentive. So you can think of BitTensor as kind of like a school. So there's obviously in the school there's like classrooms, there's teachers, and there's students, right? So the students produce the work. The classroom is the subject that's being taught, and the teacher is the one that grades the work. So in BitTensor, there's kind of three actors in the system. There's the validator, which is the teacher. There's the classroom, which is the subnet, and then there's the miner, which is the student. So the classroom, in this case, the subnet, is what is being incentivized. Like it's what's like the rules of the game. It's like the subject. It's like we're going to build a model that is highly performant, specifically to generate us the most amount of tokens per second in regards to the model's output, right? So the students, the miners in this case, are all building the highest performant models that are optimized to provide the highest tokens per second, right? The fast performing models. So in that system, they're incentivized to do that, and then their output is graded by the validator, which is the teacher, right? So the teacher determines which of those students has the best grades or the best marks, and then those students are then rewarded based off of their performance, but in the form of tau. Now in BitTensor, there's 46 of those classrooms going on, and those are all determined, like the who gets the emissions is determined by the set of validators and where they're staking their tau, more or less. And that mechanism is going to change here in the future. There's an introduction of dynamic tau, which is going to basically tokenize each of those individual subnets, and that is a whole complicated mechanism in and of itself. But that's why I'm really bullish BitTensor, is because it's creating otherwise not, it's creating open sourced, it's creating and coordinating and incentivizing open source model discoveries in a way that has never been possible before. And that's why I'm like, at On-Chain Outpost, we do a lot of research into this, because we believe it's one of the most promising AI projects because of a lot of different factors, given like its general architecture and its structure, the basically the cult that it's developed and built around this idea. Like there's a lot of people who are really all in on BitTensor. The ecosystem has a lot of talent. There's a lot of developers. It's very grassroots. Everyone is kind of there because they're passionate to be there. There's no ecosystem grants that are incentivizing people to just kind of come and farm and then leave the project. So there's a lot of reasons with like the community and the ecosystem that are very grassroots oriented. There's a lot of talent from centralized AI that kind of clock out of their day job and they go and hack away on their BitTensor subnet to earn like a little bit of extra revenue for their discoveries and their contributions. And generally, we think it's like well positioned to capture a lot of these AI projects that are launching in crypto in general. We believe that a lot of these AI projects would just be better off as a BitTensor subnet. So
And
that was kind of like a very high level.
each subnet, it's kind of a different agent for a different subject.
Yes, exactly. So there's like decentralized computing subnets, there's protein folding subnet, there's different LLMs optimized for different things. There's like AI content generator subnets, and all of them have the capability to essentially customize their incentive mechanism within each subnet. So the incentive for each subnet is different based off of how it's customized, which is unique, because in other ecosystems, it's like all the same incentive, right? And you're incentivizing one thing typically. But in this, you're
and when
incentivizing a bunch
we
of different things.
Yeah, great. And when we say, when we tell that it's decentralized or it's with crypto or blockchain, all this model, all these companies that you are seeing, it's totally decentralized. It's totally based on a blockchain, on a network. So what networks the projects are using, and the crypto, it's only a concept yet on, and some companies it's Web 2 and Web 3, and are you seeing all the, because I'm a DeFi. I'm a DeFi user. I'm a watching a protocol that is totally decentralized. A lot of protocols that it's all based in smart contracts. So I'm curious about that. What parts of the of an AI company it's building in a decentralized way? Totally.
Yeah, so there are definitely like components of BitTensor that are not decentralized. And I think that the reason why BitTensor is so successful, and one of the reasons why I like it a lot, is because I don't believe that they're trying to decentralize everything too quickly, nor do I believe that everything necessarily needs to be decentralized. And I think that that's like a key thing that a lot of people in crypto miss, is that they're under this principle that everything must be decentralized, when really like what you want to do is you want to decentralize the things that matter to be decentralized.
Yeah.
For instance, it's like we're not going to sacrifice, like there's a threshold, right, of decentralization to performance that you want to achieve based off of who is using the products. right? And how important each component of that stack being decentralized really is. Like, for example, it's like, how important is it to decentralize all code changes to the ecosystem? Well, that depends on what it is, like what function or what portion of the code you're changing, right? So I think that that's a really important factor to keep in mind is like let's not put things on the blockchain for the sake of putting them on the blockchain because a lot of these things, may not necessarily need decentralized in this moment in time. Maybe we can get there, but it's not like our first priority because it sacrifices so much performance in the early stage. And we want to keep an open mind and be agile and be able to change things because we haven't achieved product market fit necessarily initially. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about that kind of stuff. And I think that way about a lot of
I
different
agree.
projects too.
I agree
Yeah.
totally.
Like I just see like a lot of projects like decentralizing like governance rights and putting governance rights into the hands of the community way too early before they've reached like critical adoption. And I think that that is ultimately like shooting a lot of people in the foot.
Yeah, self-ask Brody about decentralization, infrastructure totally decentralized with blockchain, smart contracts. So, yeah, we don't think that we have to decentralize everything. Some core components that we want to this transparency and uh, the concept of blockchain and about the data and everything, but and some parts I think we will we I think we lost performance too sometimes if we decentralize some parts of the components of the product too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
What
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, go ahead, Victor.
yeah, I want to step on what Brody said about decentralizing way too early. I feel that not only on AI, I would say pretty much DeFi and other ecosystems, I see that happening. You just stop innovating. When you decentralize most of the organizations, when you're in a really governance uh, like decentralized a real decentralized governance, you stop like decision making so slow and so painful to pass stuff, and you need to make so much
Mm-hmm.
concession to make consensus work, and that you lose timing, you lose the ability to innovate, and if you're doing this pre PMF, you are you are killing yourself basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even if it's well funded, like it doesn't matter. Like if it's well funded and you don't have the ability of making good decision making, because you didn't need to have a lot of people agreeing, that will be a huge mistake. Um, but at the same time, I remember I'm a kind of superficial on open source AI per se. So I will tap into an example, and maybe you guys know more about this specific episode. But I remember that some AI features of some LM made by Meta got leaked, and when they like when the open source community had access to the work that was done by the Meta team, they advanced it, like they created more things. They trained it more rapidly. The AI model in days for what the Meta team had like months training the model, and in days the open source community had this huge update. I don't know if you guys recall this episode, but I think it was early this year, and like ChatGPT and start of this war AI war between Cloud and other stuff. Meta was just entering the game, and this happened. And I think that most people at the time thought that AI would be a war between big techs, Google, Microsoft through via OpenAI and Meta eventually. But I think when that kind of stuff happened, people noticed that there is a fourth or another player running in the corner, running in the sidelines. That is the open source community per se, I would say. I don't know if you knew this episode. I believe it was something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can comment on it. I think like open source software, I think moves quicker. It's just the commercialization aspects of open source software where things kind of get confusing and interesting because if you look at oh gosh, what's a good example like Windows versus what's the other one? OSs, operating
Oh,
systems. I don't know. Joseph Jacks had a good example of like the
yes.
difficulties of virtualizing open source software. But yeah, so I think like all roads in AI specifically lead towards open source. And that's why I think that previously there was no way to commercialize and incentivize collective like growth and collective development in like software, which made it difficult to commercialize in the early stages. But I think that blockchains completely flip that model on its head. And that's why I think when people realize that they can go into this ecosystem and they're incentivized to build open source software much quicker than the centralized counterparts can, it creates like this dynamic where then you're basically strong armed into going to build open source software because you can get incentivized much quicker and it's a much more free market capitalistic system where you are directly rewarded for your contributions like one to one as opposed to having to wait some arbitrary length of time and contribute all this research just for it to kind of be you know taken away from you, for lack of a better phrase, um, and profited off the back of all of your work and not being compensated fairly. So I think that that's like what's inherently different with open source software now is that you can go and just be coordinated to do and to build in this space. Never before you've been able to do that. So
One thing that I wanted to ask, like I like this subject about how we can create incentives and coordinate people because I think at the end of the day, this is one of the biggest values that we have. Like we have a couple of core values that the on-chain world brings us. Like you don't need to go 2, 3, 5 years. You don't need to have mass adoption to have the benefits of this kind of use cases. Coordination is one of them. Coordinate incentives, create economy based on and freely. You can test everything because it's a permissionless environment, and you don't need actually to trust a lot of this process because you can things can become autonomous in some ways. Uh, but at the same time, we have other things as like on-chain history. You can track everything. You can have all transparent as well. You have this couple use cases for on-chain stuff. Um, but I don't think the AI, like, let me grasp on like the AI community. Crypto is kind of a cult, I would say. I have this the same symbolism, the same ideology, the same behavior, and the same culture of I would say a religion have um, in a lot of ways. AI is kind of different vibe of the community. I feel that way. I feel that I'm not on the AI community per se. I'm not into that, like really into that. I don't feel like insider. Crypto, I feel like an insider. I don't feel AI native person. But I feel that it's different. It's a different type of behavior and culture. So you guys there are more both like in both sides have a little bit of everything and converging. How do you feel? How do you think that AI community? feels about crypto. It's a natural path for them, or is it's kind of strange yet?
Go ahead, Tony. I'll let you take that one. You're muted, by the way.
Yeah.
I think this question is for you because I'm the crypto guy, Brody. Now I'm working. I think Axon is the first project that I'm getting in contact with the decentralized AI. So I'm getting into more and more. I think in the last 2 months, in decentralized AI. So yeah, I sent to you.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there's definitely a vibe difference between the AI and the crypto community. So I obviously got into AI through crypto because of the decentralized AI component of it. So I would consider myself a crypto native, not an AI native by any means. Um, I think that there is a lot of like question marks around what the AI community thinks about crypto, which makes it really difficult for them to get interested into crypto AI projects. So I get a little bearish about crypto AI projects when the founders themselves are crypto native builders, because all of the good discoveries in the things that are actually going to matter in regards to like AI products being built, a lot of those people are AI natives coming to crypto. And I think there's a huge difference of AI builders building in crypto because they understand the inherent properties of blockchains that make blockchains a superior mechanism for coordination, distribution, and incentives, of course. Like we've been kind of hammering these 3 points the entirety of the call. And there's a difference between those types of people who come to crypto versus the crypto people who try to build AI products on crypto rails. So there's definitely a vibe difference, and there's definitely like a talent gap as well, because I feel like crypto native builders can kind of get a little bit of a superiority complex as well, where it's like, oh, like I've built this, like um I can go and build something in AI. Like of course I can. And like it's in reality, it's a simple like chat GPT like API integration or something like that. Or they're trying to do something that's not necessarily like pushing the boundary of AI research in general, or they're trying to productize it. They're trying to productize AI on within the Web3 crypto economy when there's no demand on the crypto side for any of these AI products, right? I think I see a lot of that as a lot of productization of an AI product on chain when there's no demand for it, and it's like a failing business model in and of itself. So a lot of the developments, a lot of the discoveries, and a lot of the value is going to be driven by AI natives migrating to crypto and realizing the benefits of being here are objectively better than building within uh, walled gardens, so to speak. That's kind of the trend that I've seen. But yeah, the vibes are definitely different. That's for sure. And the talent density is really dense in the Web 2 AI space. It's very dense, and it's going to be difficult to attract that talent because the compensation packages and the incentives are misaligned right now. Because the incentives for AI builders is like, well, I can go build an AI product and I can go raise like a 50 million, $100 million seed round, pre-seed round even really easily. But like investors are very weary of the intersection of crypto and AI unless you're a crypto AI investor, right? There's not very many people to raise from. But if you're building an AI product in Silicon Valley, you can pretty much raise from anyone. So the incentives are a little bit misaligned to reap the upside or capture any of the talent that's being kind of produced in the AI space. It's a very very small niche because it's like you need to like understand and align with like the crypto ethos and understand all these properties of blockchains and why it's a good place to build. But then you also have to have all this like AI experience. And um, why would I go build in crypto when I can just go build a OpenAI or Anthropic and make literally $1 million in salary with a huge equity package, right? So I think that there's going to be like an inflection point where open source and blockchains, of course, consume the mind share of all these like these developers, and it becomes an objectively better system to build within. But right now, it's like the scale is pretty off tilt and off balance.
And how you consider that it's a company's AI power? Because we are seeing a lot of like crypto companies yet putting AI with a API from GPT and Cloud, but when you the best companies that you told today, why you consider that it's a great company powered AI? What is the points that you evaluate that it's catching your attention?
For what specifically? For like a project that makes me interested in
Yeah,
them?
when some company that say, yeah, we are using AI, that's it. So how you evaluate that they are using AI in the right way and to train the model or how to think about the database and the so how you consider that as a company that it's AI powered for sure?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question because like there are a ton of like everyone's saying they're AI powered, right? It's
Yeah,
like it's like saying it, but it's like being in like 2001. It's like saying your company was internet powered, right? Or like in the 1990s, it's like, oh, I have a computer powered company. Like every company is powered by computers. Every company is powered by the internet now, right? Like it's a short term, it's a narrative short term thinking, like attention grabbing alignment, because in reality everything is going to be AI powered. The
yeah,
demand for AI has no ceiling. Like theoretically we can continuously develop more AI integrations. We can develop stronger models which consume more energy and more computing power, which like leads down to a completely different rabbit hole of a discussion about where the bottleneck lies within the entirety of the AI supply chain, right? Because it's not the demand for AI. Like the demand for AI, I don't see that evaporating anytime soon because we're going to continuously plug more businesses and more companies or plug AI into more businesses, companies, projects, et cetera, startups, individuals. Like now we're talking about personalized AI agents where everybody will have their own set of models and agents that are trained off of their own data that are, incentivized to go out into the universe of other agents to add value to me as an individual because it's my individual models, right? So I think we're going to see a proliferation in that. And of course, like with a growing population of people, and everybody has their own personalized AI models, all for different things. Like the demand for AI is never going to go away. So this whole like AI powered company thing is just a meme, really, is like how you look at it. And like, yeah, like I can put a chat bot into my front end or my website and I can ask it a question and it'll bring up a AI sales rep. And of course you could say like, oh, well, my insurance company is powered by AI or my protocol is powered by AI because I've got, this just loop of LLM integration that's hitting on the API with ChatGPT, et cetera. But I mean, all of those are like interesting to like try to pick apart what's actually like pushing the needle of what AI actually is and like how we're actually leveraging AI in a unique way. And I feel like you can just get a trained eye for that kind of stuff when you read a lot of projects. Like um I don't really have any great examples off the rip, but it's very easy to kind of just tell from how people position the company, what the just from the documentation, what they're actually doing under the hood. Even if you wanted to go take a look at the code, you can kind of see, where that's kind of sitting. But yeah, I think like once you get more familiar with the AI stack, it becomes more apparent where the grifters are separating themselves from the people who are actually trying to be more aligned with the AI narrative.
awesome.
I want to sorry, I want to take a little bit deep dive on what you're doing on on-chain outpost. What is on-chain outpost, first of all, and what you're doing? What is the vision for on-chain outpost?
Yeah, so I gave a little bit of an intro to On-Chain Outpost.
Yeah.
I think you were breaking up. So the viewers got the whole spiel on On-Chain Outpost. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
we can
guess I
see the
guess the
next steps. So, what are you in mind? Or
Yeah, so I guess like next steps is like, yeah, we're trying to build this community of people who are passionate about decentralized AI, of course. We want to be like the one-stop shop for everybody to kind of go and learn. Um, the roll up by Andy, I'll give a shout out to the roll up and Andy. They do a really good job of doing research specific to L2s and anything that's kind of has to do with the modular stack. So shared sequencing, data availability, um, alternative virtual machines, stuff like that. Like they do a really good job of hitting on all the L2 stuff. So we're really trying to like fill the shoes and be that, I guess, persona or that brand for decentralized AI. Um, we have a lot of goals in mind that we want to do like after this initial like bootstrapping period where we're bootstrapping the community, bootstrapping our content library, bootstrapping our research library, etc. We're launching a website soon, so it'll be way easier to discover all the content that we do create. We're going to be doing a lot more co-authored pieces um, with people who are interested in the space, whether from like an investment perspective or a fundamental perspective. Um, we are launching our own podcast soon, which will be cool. So we've been doing a lot of Twitter spaces in the past. We've got a lot of great people on who want to talk about their projects and just uh, theses and perceptions of the space holistically. And yeah, like we have pretty ambitious goals to do a lot more interesting stuff, specifically like on the advisory, on the venture side. But those are a year or so down the track once we feel confident that we'll be able to um, make good investments and so forth. So yeah, a lot of products, a lot of ideas that we want to build, but just have to be patient. More soon.
Definitely keep us on the loop. I want to see that closely. And yeah, it's great to have like this talk about crypto and AI because plus AI because I had a lot of friends in crypto that kind of left crypto because of AI in the last
Hmm.
year, like because of the market and stuff, they kind of didn't have the energy to go forward in crypto, and they just went to AI and researching and building stuff there. It is interesting what they are doing, but at the same time, they could be doing things on crypto and AI because they have a lot of
Hmm.
knowledge on crypto. They are crypto natives, but they stopped building on crypto because they didn't had they I think they thought wouldn't have such synergy at the beginning, so they just moved to the
Yeah,
another
it
yeah.
was really
But
easy to lose hope back then. I mean, it was dark times. So, and
you
AI was sexy
know,
at the time.
what is the constraints about people that it's deeper on AI and don't believe on this synergy, Brody?
So, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Do you know what is the constraints of these people that it's working in AI, training a lot of AI on San Francisco and the Silicon Valley and don't believe it on the synergy?
I just think it's very comfortable for them to stay in their box in their lane, right? They don't have to like all of their efforts are concerted on developing AI, and they don't want to go the length of trying to figure out how crypto fits into all of that. They're making really good money to do that, and they are discovering and building a lot of cool stuff. So they kind of, like crypto is fraught with fraud, and it doesn't really have a good narrative to itself at times. Obviously we're pretty crypto native, so we can kind of look past that and we understand all the benefits that these products and this technology like brings to society into day-to-day life for a lot of people at large. So there's a like definitely like a knowledge gap. um there's definitely like information asymmetry there with not understanding crypto. And just incentives are just generally aligned better for them there because they can go get a PhD from a, a prestigious university and go make $1 million right off the bat. Like you can't really say that in crypto. Like you got to like build a company. A lot of people don't want to build a company, right? Um, they don't. A lot of people don't want to be a founding engineer somewhere either. Like they want to go and they see like the paycheck and they see what the things that they can build and there's not those types of responsibilities, which I don't blame them because it is hard. And it's a whole different skill set and it's a whole different kind of mentality. Some people just want to go build dope AI and like you can't fault them for it when they can go make millions of dollars doing it. So I think that there'll be a phase where the incentives will realign back into the decentralized space. Or at least that's what I'm hopeful for. Because I believe that the benefits of building in an open source manner are much better for society and for everyone who's participating in the ecosystem. And I think it presents a lot more opportunity and a lot more growth perspectives for people who are building in the space. It's like it's an open ecosystem. It's permissionless. Anyone can kind of tap into this stuff. The user base is much larger. The total addressable market is much larger. And you can basically program money in a way that, incentivizes things that you could never before incentivize. So I think that that's like very, very compelling. And I think that translates very well for open source software development as a whole. Maybe that was like a good thing to end on.
Good thing. Good thing. Yeah. I'll just ask Tony, we're closing doors in the podcast. I'm just asking Tony how will be his week because I don't think we'll have Circuito in the next week. I don't know. We need to talk
How
because
will be?
João, yeah, how will your week next week?
Okay. I think I'll work more with Axon, with this company that is the building the agents and decentralizing this training. So yeah, I have to deep dive on the product, on the technology. I began helping on some setups for marketing growth, but now it's the time to get more in contact with the CTO and all the technology. So I will do that, and yeah, I think that's it. I don't we didn't plan our next plan yet, but yeah. And I have to study all the tools that Brody bring here. For sure.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
cool
Me too.
tools,
I,
man.
I need to rewatch the whole thing, like because the first 20 minutes it was in the space. So yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
I want to continue some projects that I'm building with AI. That is to get a lot of data from some crypto rank and some platforms that have data from venture capital, and I want to create some reports that show the data of venture capital and crypto, what narratives are bringing more data for that, what the bad the biggest investments and what is the worst the most angels, more active angels, stuff like that. And now I'm thinking to create this report for AI too, or for decentralized AI. Yeah. So people see that this narrative, that this area is growing a lot in companies and people are researching. So yeah, I want to do this view for the people, because we're seeing a lot of investments, but it's a bubble. We have to show to people.
awesome. And how about you, Brody? What is your next week's looking like?
Yeah, talking to a lot of investors, like always, always taking calls with investors to talk about this kind of stuff, because it's really fun. I love doing it. I love hearing where people's heads are and kind of how they assess the space at large. Um, yeah, we're pumping out a lot of cool research, of course. Always, you can check us out at onchainoutpost.com or onchain outpost even on Twitter. So just continuing to write research, pump out some insights. We do that every week, of course. And yeah, I'm going to try to touch some grass this weekend. It's been a pretty busy week, and um, I'm nearing the point of AI exhaustion, to be completely honest. So I need to touch grass to light the fire back under me a little bit, so that I can hit next week pretty hard. So I'm gonna go to the park, go hang out. I'm gonna go grab a steak and some wine here with the guys from the Solana Economic Zone out here in Buenos Aires, and just probably take it easy. Maybe read some stuff. There's a lot of cool papers that were published by Noah's Research. I can send those over to you. You guys can read those if you want to learn more about some fundamental stuff. So I'll probably read some of that. DPIN is another thing that I am very like interested in as a whole. So maybe we can have another discussion on another time, Victor and Tony, to talk about DPIN,
Yeah.
because that's a whole other beast. And I'm very excited about that sector developing. And Solana is positioned very well to capture a lot of those projects. So, going to do a little bit of a deep dive into DPIN as well and see what they're cooking over there. So,
Awesome, awesome. And let me have a quick question here. Have you heard about the narrative that we're trying to build around Florianopolis or not?
no, what's that?
Yeah, we're trying to convince everyone to do a Aleph version or Solana Economic Zone version of what happened in Buenos Aires, but in Florianopolis.
That'd be amazing. I would come. I've heard it's a great city, so I need to check it out. I need to check out
Yeah,
Brazil, man. I haven't
it's
even
very
been to Brazil
amazing.
yet. Good. Maybe I'll come to Brazil.
Yeah, if
Yeah, why?
Floripa will happen here in February.
Amazing. We'll talk
Yeah,
about it,
let's
fellas.
yeah, let's arrange some stuff. Brody, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. It was
Thank
really
you,
a
man.
pleasure and good time, good vibes, high energy. Thank you, Tony, as well. Always good co-host. Thank you for hanging out as well. Missed João, but we don't have like it's never a perfect time. Like it maybe next time. Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
guys for
John had to hear about what Brody said, Falan and Deepin. So yeah,
yeah, maybe
thank
next
you,
time.
Brody. Thank you, Sophie.
See
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it, fellas. Take it easy. Have a great weekend.
Take care.